in the heart of the global financial system, where decisions are made that affect entire countries, there is an institution that not only watches the game, it controls it, a bank that has survived wars, crises, collapses, and that, in the most critical moments of history, has not fallen. It has dominated. This is JPMorgan Chase. But to understand its power, we have to go back to the origin, to one man, a man who not only changed banking, he changed the destiny of the United States. His name was John Pierpont Morgan. Late 19th century, the United States was growing rapidly, but its financial system was unstable. Banks were constantly failing. Money had no real control. The country was moving forward, but without a solid system to support it. And in the middle of that chaos, JP Morgan emerged as something more than a banker. He became the system. He was not a politician. He was not a president. But when the government could not act, he did. In 1895, the United States government was on the verge of financial collapse. Gold reserves were disappearing. Confidence in the country was weakening. And then, Morgan intervened. He organized a rescue. He gathered private capital and literally saved the United States government. Without elections, without public approval, a banker rescuing a nation. That was the moment when financial power surpassed political power, and Morgan knew it. From there, his influence grew. He controlled railroads, he controlled industries, he controlled the flow of money. And when the system began to shake again, he intervened again. In 1907, a banking crisis shook the country. Panic took over the markets. Banks were falling. People were withdrawing their money. The system was about to collapse. And once again, the government did not react. So Morgan took control. He locked the main bankers of the country in his library and did not let them leave until they agreed on a plan to save the system. It was an extreme act, but it worked. The system survived. And that moment left a clear lesson. The United States could not depend on one man to survive. From that, the Federal Reserve was born. But even with the Fed, the power of JP Morgan did not disappear. It transformed. It became institutionalized. It became bigger, more complex, more invisible. Decades later, the bank continued growing, merging, expanding, absorbing other institutions, until becoming what it is today, JPMorgan Chase, a financial giant, with trillions of dollars in assets, with presence in all major markets in the world, with direct influence on global economic decisions. But its true power is not in its size. It is in its position. JPMorgan Chase is at the center of the system. It is the bank of banks, the key intermediary in global transactions, the actor that moves capital between governments, companies, and markets. When a large corporation needs financing, JP Morgan is there. When a country faces a crisis, JP Morgan is involved. When markets tremble, JP Morgan acts. But that power also implies risks. And in 2008, those risks became reality. The global financial crisis, one of the biggest economic collapses in history. Banks failing, markets crashing, millions of people losing everything. And in the middle of the chaos, JPMorgan Chase did something few could. It stayed strong. It not only survived, it became stronger. It acquired Bear Stearns. It absorbed Washington Mutual. While others were falling, it was growing. But it was not luck. It was strategy. It was preparation. It was power. However, the bank did not come out unscathed. Fines, investigations, public criticism. The financial system was under scrutiny, and JP Morgan was one of its main symbols. But once again, it adapted, it restructured, it strengthened, and moved forward. Today, JP Morgan Chase is not just a bank, it is an infrastructure, a pillar of the global financial system. It processes trillions of dollars daily. It operates in more than 100 countries, and it has an influence that few fully understand. CEO Jamie Dimon is considered one of the most powerful men in the world. When he speaks, markets listen. When he warns, governments react. Because in the modern world, power is no longer only in politics, it is in finance. And JP Morgan Chase dominates that territory. But the world is changing. Technology is redefining money. Watching cryptocurrencies, decentralized finance, a new system that seeks to eliminate intermediaries, a system where banks like JP Morgan would no longer be necessary, and that represents a threat. but also an opportunity. Because if JPMorgan has demonstrated something throughout its history, it is its ability to adapt, to evolve, to remain at the center, no matter how the game changes. The question is not if the system will change. The question is, who will control the new system? And if history is any guide, JPMorgan Chase will not only participate, it will try to lead it. Because from its origin, from that man who saved a country with private capital, to the institution that today moves the money of the world, one thing has remained constant: control. Control of capital, control of risk, control of the system. And in a world where everything depends on money, controlling money is controlling power. JPMorgan Chase is not just a bank, it is a force that has shaped the past, that defines the present, and that will probably influence the future. Because in the end, the real question is not how much money a bank has. The real question is how much power it exercises. And in that game, JPMorgan Chase is still at the top.